Hey friends, this is Sam from Rooting for You Studio, and today on the Square Summit, I'm going to be talking about the secret to booking more projects with your Squarespace website, your About page. Let's get into it. So, I'm Sam. Great to meet you. Great to be hanging out today. I founded and run Rooting for You Studio, where we design websites, brands, and templates for adventurous creatives. A lot of our sites and templates are on Squarespace, and even though I design on a variety of platforms, Squarespace is my first love. I designed my first Squarespace website when I was abroad in New Zealand. I was like, you know what? I'm here. I'm in this gorgeous place having these amazing adventures. I should really make a travel blog. And instead of it turning into a travel blog, those months in New Zealand really were the catalyst for my excitement to explore more about web design and what makes a strategic website, what makes a beautiful website. And I have learned so much about design in the 5 years since I built that first Squarespace website. I really believe every successful website starts with strategy, and I've created site strategies for over 45 business owners in the past 2 years because I care so much about it. You can have the most gorgeous design, the most beautiful photos, the most perfect brand colors, but if you don't have a solid site strategy, your website isn't going to convert as many people. You're going to book as many services as you really could. So trust me, your About page is your secret weapon to booking more sales. So before I get into how you should structure your About page, I really want to talk about why the About page is so important. So first off, the About page is actually the second most viewed page on your website. And I see a lot of people kind of throw around that statistic because it's true, it's important, but rarely do people talk about why that's so key. Usually it's just, oh, it's the second most viewed page, so it gets a lot of traffic, so you should make it important. But really, the reason people view the About page so much, why they look at your homepage and immediately click over to the About page, is that they want to know if you're trustworthy, if you can do what you say you're going to do, and if they would like to working with you. And the funny thing is, they're hiring you, for a service, but to the person looking to book your service, they already know kind of what they want in terms of goals or finished product. They want to know what it would be like to work with you. So even before they look at the details of your service, the specifics of what you offer in your packages, they want to learn more about you. So the About page gets a lot of traffic, and it's also a really pivotal point in that visitor journey throughout your site because it starts with them landing on your homepage, and it should end with them reaching out to you, hopefully on your contact page. And the About page is a really pivotal point where they decide, okay, yes, this is the person I want to work with for the service that I'm interested in. So we're going to talk in a second about what you should include on your About page. But before you jump into exactly how to structure the page and what content to include, I really want to talk about the two main goals you should have for your About page. You should be focused on connection and on action. Let me break those down a little bit. So you want to make sure the About page really connects to your audience. And this is way bigger and way deeper than, oh, we both like, mocha lattes, or we both like golden retrievers. When it comes to connection, you really want to relate to their struggles. Maybe what they're struggling with, what they could hire you for, is something that you've already struggled with and worked through and now have a good solution for. Or maybe you see people having bad experiences in your industry and you're like, heck no, this is where it ends. And you acknowledge that they could have a frustrating time booking the service from someone else, or maybe they've had a frustrating experience in the past and you're like, look, I see what you're struggling with, what you don't want. And this is how we're going to have a better experience, have a better outcome. Next up for connection, you want to focus on building trust and credibility. So it's not enough to say, hey, this is who I am, this is a service I offer, but you want to show them that you have what it takes, that you can create the results that they want at the end of the process. And lastly, for connection, you really want to position yourself as the perfect fit. You don't just want to say, here's what you don't want and here's what you do want. You also want to say, and here I am to be the perfect fit. I am exactly what you're looking for. I can get you exactly where you want to be. I can give you the exact experience that you want to have. You really want to focus on that deep connection that focuses on the process, transformation, and results that they can get after working with you. Next up for your About page, so once you've built that foundation of connection and trust, you really want to get them to take action. The About page is the perfect place to share your social links, to give them links to explore your services, because that really should be the next step, or just to encourage them to reach out right away. If they've already kind of looked through your services and been familiar with what you do for a while, and then they looked at your About page and they're like, yes, this is the person I want to work with, make sure they know how to take that next step and they know how to reach out right away. I've seen so many About pages that are just focused on introducing yourself, and that's it. Like, there's no attempt to build connection beyond really superficial things like getting lost in Target, and there's no encouragement to take action. It's just kind of like, hey, here's me, here's my face, here's 5 things I love, and there's no emphasis on taking that next step. So you want to make sure that you sit down and you focus on ways to build connection and actions you want people to take after they view your About page. Feel free to use these as jumping off points so you can figure out exactly what you want them to connect to, what you want them to relate to, and exactly what you want them to do when they finished reading this page. So next up, we're going to jump into the strategic structure. This is a website I built for Nikki Kate recently, and I absolutely loved her About page. So for this section, we're going to be talking about the actual strategic structure. So I'll be breaking down the formula I use when I work with clients like this photographer to set up your About page to book more clients by focusing on that connection and action that we just discussed. So first up, I want to give you a rough outline for your full About page. After this, I'll go through each of these little sections and I'll blow them into huge proportion and explain exactly how I would structure each of these sections. But when you're building your homepage, I really recommend you start with a piece of paper or Adobe XD or somewhere where you're going to be wireframing, just somewhere where you can lay out exactly what you want to have on your About page and break it into these 5 different sections. So at the very top, you want to make sure you're sharing who you serve, how, and why. Don't just start with, this is where I live, or this is the kind of coffee I like. Really focus on the work you do, what your process is like, and why it matters to you. And of course, I'm gonna explain that a little bit more next, but that's really the most important place to start. From there, we're going to be diving into why they should listen, why it matters, what makes you different, and then we're going into the official intro. Usually that's where About pages start, but I love having that build up before they get to the official intro because it really gives your visitors a time to say, okay, this is what they're offering. This is why they're different from people that I could be choosing otherwise. And then boom, this is exactly the person that I would be working with. This is their focus. This is their approach. I connect and resonate with them as a person so much. From there, we're going to jump into social proof, which is really just saying, look, I've done this in the past. I've got it. This all checks out. If you like what you see here, book with me and you can get the same results. And then the last section is really that taking action section, saying, all right, if you like what you see here, this is how you can get those same exact results by working with me. So first up, we're going to be focusing on the very first section, sharing who you serve, how you serve them, and why it matters to you, why it matters to them. So you should already have something like this on your homepage. It's very important that at the start of your homepage, you're like, boom, this is what I do. This is who I'm a great fit for, and this is the transformation they get from working with me. But that's not what I'm covering here. I'm just saying you should already have that on your site. And if they resonate with that on your homepage, they're coming to the About page to get the full nitty-gritty version of that. So we're going to get super personal in this section. I would really suggest including these 4 things in the who you serve, how, and why section at the very beginning. Get super clear about your offering. If you're a photographer, don't just say you're a photographer. Explain either where you are or where you travel to for sessions. Talk about what kind of sessions you're interested in offering. Get super specific about what it is you offer. Next up, explain why it's important to you. So we're going to cover why it's important to your clients in the next section, but really dig deep into this is the kind of transformation or experience I offer with my service. And this is why I care so much about doing it this way. Next up, we're going to be sharing a professional photo of you working, and then maybe a behind the scenes photo or video if relevant. So they really need to get a visual of you in your element doing the thing you do. For me, designing websites, in a way, it's not super visual because I'm like, this is me behind a computer screen. Like, there we go. But if you are an event planner or an event designer, for instance, I was just designing a website for this awesome event designer based in Austin, Texas. And we were talking about having a behind the scenes video on our homepage, even just an iPhone time-lapse video, just to say, this is what it looks like to install like a huge balloon garland, for your party next month. Just so it's not just I design parties, but they really get a visual of the work that you do. So this is really the section where I would encourage you to not make it about yourself as much as making it about, making it about what you offer and how that, and like kind of a visual for what that experience or process or finished product looks like. In the next section, we're going to talk about why they should listen. So it's not just, here is the finished product that you'll get after working with me, but really talking about the transformation they experience or maybe the experience they can have when they work with you. So for example, I was talking with an amazing adventure photographer a couple months ago, and she was talking about her process and her approach to planning these elopements and intimate weddings. And she was saying, so many people come to me and they say, we don't want a huge wedding. We don't want something massive and stressful and overwhelming. And I was like, good, let's start with that. Before we jump into the experience they're going to have with you, really talk about the experience they don't want to have. And then reassure them that it doesn't have to be that way. Bust the myth that that's the only option they have, the only possible way that experience or that day or that event could go. So no matter what industry you're in, it can be super helpful to talk about what they don't want and basically say, when you work with me, you can forget about that. It doesn't have to go that way. On the other hand, you could flip it and you could say, all right, this is an amazing thing you're going to get. This is an awesome experience you're going to have, and really highlight what's possible, really pump up the possible for that section. Totally up to you which way you want to take it. Play around with it, come up with a couple different options, and feel free to see what works best and what would resonate most with your ideal clients. So after you have that, like it could be this way or it doesn't have to be this way section, really focus on the experience and results they could see. And I love including imagery here from maybe past photo sessions you've taken or past websites you've launched or past copy you've written. Like create, again, that visual reminder of this is what you could experience or this is what you could have at the end of us working together. So they have that visible, tangible idea in their mind. And then every time, even if they don't reach out to work with you right away, every time they think about you, they're going to have that really solid visual of, oh, but if I work with this person, this is what I could get at the end, or this is the process I could have, or this is the experience I could have. And then really, in your words, again, dig deep into the transformation they can experience with you. So don't just show them visuals of how things can be different, but really dig into the way that the experience can be totally different. Next, we're going to jump into your official intro. So you've already gotten a chance to talk about like what you do, what they don't want, and now we're going to talk about who you are and exactly who they'd be trusting to do this service. So you want to make sure you're positioning yourself as the exact perfect fit for what they want. We spent the earlier part of the page talking about kind of what they want, what they don't want, and you want to make sure all that build up totally pays off. So you're going to introduce yourself, talk yourself up, and focus again on that transformation when you share what you do for them. So in this section, definitely include your name, maybe the name of your business if you think that's important, and then your job title. So exactly what it is you do, what problem you solve, or what experience you create. When you work together with these new clients. In this section, I would also include a fun photo of you that shows your personality. Ideally, it should still be a professional looking photo with something that creates more of that level of relatability of it's not just me being super professional, but it's also me being friendly and approachable and someone you can work with easily. You want to include what sets you apart in your industry. So not just this is who I am, this is where I'm located, this is the work I do, but really what makes you different, especially if they're looking around and comparing you to a ton of different people who offer the same thing. You want to make sure that you share what sets yourself apart. And maybe that's in your background. Maybe that's some of the experiences you've had, the clients you've worked for. Maybe that's your specific niche, like the specific people you serve. For instance, I can design websites for all sorts of entrepreneurs, but I specifically want to work with other adventure-seeking entrepreneurs, like elopement photographers, people who love the outdoors. And that's something that I use that really sets myself apart in the industry. Next, you want to share what they can expect from the experience of working with you. And this is a little bit different than what we've talked about before. It's not the result, it's not the transformation, it's more what it actually looks like. This is more of the process of working with you. So in this section, you're not just going to say, this is who I am, these are 5 fun facts about me, but you're really gonna focus on setting yourself up as being the perfect fit for what they're looking for. And then share a little bit more about what it would actually look like to work with you. So it's not just, boom, I'm exactly what you want, but you're also sharing the details of when we work together, this is what you can expect, and I'm different for all of these reasons. After that section, so after you say I'm the perfect fit, we're really going to dive in with the social proof to show them why you're the perfect fit. So when people view your website, they want to know if you've done what you say you're here to do and if you can do that for them. It's not enough to say, I'm here, this is my area of expertise, this is what I can do for you. You want to show them that you've done it in the past, you've done it multiple times in multiple different ways, and then give them that reassurance that no matter where they're coming from, how frustrated or embarrassed they are of what they've had in the past, no matter what bad experiences they might have had from other people in your industry, you want to show them that you can create the experience or results or transformation that they are really interested in. So this is where you're going to show all of that proof that you have done that before and you will do it for them. So in this section, this is where it's amazing to show photos of your past work or mock-ups of your past work or even videos of your past work or past projects that you've done before. Maybe you want to have a rotating gallery or a link to your portfolio with a couple of photos above that link. Anything that you think is a really good representation of your work. And this is key. It's not enough to show work you've done in the past, but you also want to show work you want to be doing more of in the future. And that's a little sneaky thing that people don't often talk about because sometimes you might be pivoting or you might have worked with a client and you're like, yeah, this project was fine, but I don't really want to do more of this work. I don't really want to work with more people in this industry. So make sure you're being really choosy, that this is not only some of your best work, the work that you're most proud of, but also work that you really want to be booking more of. So photos, mock-ups, all that visual proof of your past work is so key. So from here, you also want to include a link to explore more of your work. So maybe that's a link to your sessions pages, your portfolio, however that looks. Make sure you're highlighting things you've done in the past. Next up, and this is one of the best things you could include, and I would really encourage you to share it anywhere on your website, on any page, but especially the About page, would be testimonials from happy clients. And it's awesome if you can share testimonials that really detail the experience and the transformation they got from working with you. So it's not just, oh yeah, I had a good time, they gave me exactly what I wanted, but it's like, oh my gosh, you have to book this person. This is the process. These are all the ways I was delighted. This is all the ways they met and exceeded my expectations, and really showcase the way that their experience of working with you is different than other people in your industry. And lastly, for social proof, this is an amazing place to showcase awards you received in the past, credentials, certifications, or logos from high-profile clients. And I know that's not something, especially if you're still starting out and building the foundation of your business, that might not be something that you have ready to go right away. But as you continue to grow and as you continue to build and book more projects and really become more of an expert in your industry, this is an amazing place to show awards or logos from high-profile clients. And I know you might be looking at this section and thinking, oh my goodness, this is so much to include. And really what I want you to do is take a look at this list of ways you could showcase social proof and pick one of them that works best for you. So maybe you haven't had a lot of past clients and you're still trying to get your footing and figure out exactly how to showcase your skills and your abilities and the work you want to be doing, but you don't have a lot of awesome testimonials to share. What I would do is showcase maybe photos from a styled shoot or mock-ups of a personal project that you created where you're like, I would like to book more projects like this, even though I didn't get paid for this one, I can do this work. So you might want to focus more on the photos and mock-ups. Or if your work is very kind of non-visually focused, you might want to focus more on amazing testimonials that you got from clients who are like, oh my goodness, this website copy blew me away. This is absolutely perfect, exactly what I want. You want to make sure that you really highlight which of these 4 elements works best for you, and feel free to use 2 or 3, maybe all 4. Layer them on the site, or even layer them as you go down the About page. You can kind of mix these into different sections and really make sure that they are giving you that boost to show up as the authority that you already know you are. So you're amazing at the work that you do, and you want to make sure your About page really shows that off. Lastly, for your About page, we want to talk about next steps. So it's not enough to say, these are the results you could experience when you work together, when you work with me. But now we're going to say, okay, this is how we can get started. So we're going to talk next steps and really highlight that transformation and then encourage visitors to take action. So it's not just, yep, this is what I offer. Click this button if you want what I offer. You really want to make sure you're getting them excited to take that action, saying, oh my goodness, this person is a perfect fit. Let's get started. So you might want to include some of the results that your previous clients have seen after working with you. Again, this is where you kind of pull elements from the social proof section into other sections. So we can say, okay, do you want to get this kind of result? That's what this client got. So let's talk about the transformation you can experience and then how you can get started working with us. It's also really awesome to share a glimpse into your process here. So you can talk a little bit about, okay, when you're ready to experience this transformation, you can take this next step and then you're going to get X, Y, and Z during the process of working with us. Share a little bit more about what that process and experience looks like. And then you want to make it super, super clear how they can take action. Give them a big, bold button. Let them know what their next step is. Maybe that's booking a call. Maybe that's sending you an email, filling out a form, picking up the phone and calling you. Make it super obvious. So even if they got to the top of your page and were sold then, they were like, okay, this is what this person does, let's go. And they scroll down, your page, they can immediately find exactly how to take that next step. And lastly, make sure you include what happens after they take that next step. So you might say, all right, awesome. Let's work together, fill out this form, and I'll get back to you within 24 hours with a guide or with more information or with whatever your next step is. Make sure you're sharing that with them, because people are always more willing to take action when they know what they can experience after they take that action. Oh my goodness, you guys, I can't wait to see your new About page. I really hope this section was helpful. I hope that the layout and the organization and ideas for each section really inspired you to redo your About page or update it or just make it more intentional, more focused on that connection and that action. So I mean it, seriously. Send me an email or tag me on Instagram. My link on Instagram and email are listed on this slide. Anywhere you want to look for me, I'm at Rooting For You Studio, and I would love to see the way you redo your About page to really focus on building that connection so people can take that action to book with you. Oh, you guys, I'm already rooting for you. I'm so excited to see what you come up with.